So, hi everyone, it's the 27th of December and we're live. Hello, Jenny, how are you?
I'm very, very well. Thank you, Rachel. How are you? Merry compliments of the season.
Indeed.
Because Christmas is done, isn't it? We're done.
Yes. It's been a very lovely one here, very exciting. We've had a lovely mix of, sort of all the chaos and hecticness of being with family, but also some downtime, just the four of us. So we've had a perfect mix of both. It's been really good. It's been
marvelous.
Great.
I'm in a very breezy and very wet Bristol, but I've had a fabulous time, and same with my sister and my parents. That's lovely. So, and it's an ongoing. I think, like lots of people. I don't know what the day is. It's an ongoing feast, isn't it? Between now and New Year.
We're in that period, aren't we?
Yes, Twixmas.
Yes, Twixmas. Yeah, no idea what's going on. But we're still here with you, everybody, and we hope that you have all had a really nice festive season too, in whatever way you celebrate, and in whatever way you might be celebrating in the coming days as well. So if you've been keeping an eye out, you'll notice that the theme for today's show is traditions and ways of celebrating at this time of year, because obviously there's all sorts of different ways we can do things, isn't there? And we're going to, at the very end of the show as well, we're just going to let you know a few things about what's coming next year, which is very exciting. We're both very super excited about it. But on with the show to start with. And don't forget, if you are watching, please do comment. We love to carry on the conversation. And if you've got any questions you want to add, please put them in the chat. And pop us a hashtag replay if you're watching back later. So, Jenny, first question. Do you have a favourite pre-Christmas tradition in your family? So before the main day arrives, do you have any?
Oh, that's a good one. I think, can I have two?
Go for it. Absolutely. Why not?
So I think there is that. I love Advent, so I think that building up. I like to build. So we always had a tradition that something else would happen. So it might be some extra lights or an ornament or the crib or whatever. So I think those traditions of building up, doing something just a little. It might just be a little thing, but every day those. And I particularly. Like the lights, the lighting thing is a theme for me. So whether that's candles, whether that's, I think that kind of that getting to the the winter solstice, and the darkness. I quite like anything that's to do with lights. And then my second is that on Christmas Eve, we have always been allowed to open one present, one little thing, as a kind of treat on Christmas Eve. So that's always been a thing.
Yeah, lovely. That sounds fantastic, and I have to say, very much echoes some of my favourite things about the build up to Christmas as well. So talking of Advent, our two girls have got two felt Christmas trees that hang on the wall, and they've got little pockets in for each day of Advent. And I always enjoy the build up of doing that with them, because I mean, perhaps the youngest now rather than the eldest, she's that bit older, and it's not quite the same anymore, but seeing their excitement when there's something new each day. And we've done various different things. It hasn't always been chocolate. Sometimes it's been a little toy or a decoration to put on the tree or something else. It doesn't always have to be chocolate. But I think back to my enjoyment of Advent calendars as a child. I mean, perhaps the chocolate ones more so. But even, I can remember having Advent calendars where you just opened a window, and one day there was a candle, and one day there was a holly wreath, and there was not just pictures, no treat. I think it's quite often associated with treats these days, isn't it? With chocolate treats, and that's not the only option. I guess is how I feel about that.
Yeah, my obviously I'm so ancient that my Advent calendars were just window. Glitter was the treat.
Yeah, absolutely.
A picture with, and every day was a window, and it was really exciting to see behind the and quite often the pictures were sort of tissue. so that
Okay.
they reflected the light. So again, you could open the window. And my sister and I used to share. There were two of us. There still are two of us. And we used to share an advent calendar. So we used to have to take it in turns to open the windows. So yes.
Love that. That's brilliant. Okay, what's your first question for me?
So my first question is about the amalgamation or the joining together of traditions when families get together. So there are lots of blended families, aren't there? There are lots of
Absolutely.
when families join together, we all assume, or maybe it's just me. Certainly, when I was first married, you kind of assume that that everybody's traditions are similar, and what you find out is that actually people have very different traditions. So my question is: was there a tradition that you had to embrace when you got married, or when you went to spend Christmas with somebody else?
Okay, I'm just going to type that in so I can put it on the screen. Right. Yes, the first thing that springs to mind actually is the first Christmas that I spent with Darren and his family. For Christmas lunch, they always have a starter. Now that's not something I don't remember doing as a child. I mean, I think there's been a couple of Christmases where we've been out for a meal on Christmas Day. So on those occasions, I probably would have had a starter. But Christmas dinner is such a big meal, isn't it? And I couldn't wrap my head around the idea of having a starter. I'm like, sure, that's just too much food, because you're going to have pudding. You've got to have Christmas pudding. Well, I say you've got to have Christmas pudding. I love to have Christmas pudding. Not everybody does. So yeah, I found that I still find it. Well, it's not strange. It's just alien to me, because that's not what I was used to. That you go straight in for the meal rather than having a starter first. But Christmas this year, that has become part of our family tradition now that we have a family, because we had a starter on Christmas Day. We didn't need it at all. and Christmas pudding had to wait till quite a bit later on in the afternoon after a walk to make some room. But yeah, so that's probably the first one that springs to mind. What about yourself?
My big one was and this was different families, so not just my husband's family, but the time you open presents.
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm very excited about present opening, and obviously as children we had stockings at the end of your beds, and then which Santa, Father Christmas brought, and then you had presents under the tree, and we were the whole thing about get up once you're awake, you open your stocking, and then you go downstairs, and we all and it could be 6 o'clock in the morning, it could be whatever time, obviously as we got older it got slightly later, but we opened them in the morning, and actually the cousins who I'm with today, they didn't open their presents till after the Queen had done her speech, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I would have been beside myself if I'd had to wait that long. So the timing of presents, I'd be fascinated for people who are watching. When do you open your presents? Do you do it in stages? Do you have a stocking and then wait till after lunch or whatever? But yes, and certainly my husband's family had they opened presents later, so that was a tradition that he was very happy to ignore. So that when our boys were little, we did the whole opening them all early in the morning.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's always how I've been brought up, that you stocking on the end of the bed, although in this case it's not on the end of the girls' beds, it's they hang it on their door handle on the outside of their door. But yeah, stocking first, and then whatever time it is, as long as it's not too ridiculous, downstairs and open all the presents. And I did experience one Christmas where presents weren't till the afternoon, and I was just I had the jitters. I was kind of sat there all morning like what? We need to open the presents. Look, they're there. I can see them. So yeah, it's amazing what you get used to, isn't it?
And it's also fascinating when you talk to people just how different, the range of different traditions
Yes.
that there are, and how it always pays to be open-minded about other people's traditions, doesn't it?
Indeed, yes. Absolutely. There's always something new to embrace, and it can be fun and interesting as well. Okay, so my next question for you is, what is the most important thing to you to be celebrated over the festive season?
Oh, actually, that's quite easy. Fellowship,
Yeah,
love, connection. I think we talk a lot, don't we, about the commerciality of Christmas,
yes,
and the whole thing about you have to um, give presents of a certain value, and it can be very stressful and highly pressured, and I know that there are many people who have go into debt over Christmas
yes.
in order to
That's a shame. Yeah,
maintain a perception that things are different than they are in reality, and actually I think there is something about remembering what's important, and that the gifts that we bring, or the gift of yourself is actually your time, your presence, your energy in the room, is actually really important to me. And I one of the things I love about my daughter, and one of my daughters-in-law is American, and that's the thing I've kind of taken from Thanksgiving, is that thing about actually it is about concentrating on what you're thankful for, rather than
yes,
just present, just more gifts. So actually, the thing that is most important to me is that kind of the time that you spend with people, whether that's over FaceTime, whether it's in person, on the
yeah,
phone, however we do it these days. And I'm hugely grateful for
cool.
technology that allows us to do
Yeah.
things like this. So I think that, yeah, fellowship and community, and relationship is what's most important.
Yeah, and I'd absolutely echo that. There's some saying or other, isn't it? But something about presence, presence with a CE rather than with a TS on the end. It's all about you being in the room, and being there with the people that you're with. We can't always be with the people we want to be with. There's obviously issues of people no longer walking the earth with us that we'd like to be celebrating with. So it can be a difficult time. So I think the focus definitely needs to be around, like as you've said, the fellowship, love, connection, time that you can spend with loved ones. That's definitely really important. And I think that's I can't think of the word I want to use, but that can apply to absolutely everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're religious or not around the festive season. That applies, because obviously fellowship is a word that's often used in a religious context, but I think it applies just as much to everybody, which for me, I really love the idea of that concept because of the fact it's so inclusive. It applies to absolutely everybody. It's just whether people choose to embrace it or not. But yeah, I think we're on
And
the
it's
same
so
page again, Jenny.
funny, that, isn't it?
Funny that.
So my second question is:
Okay.
Is there a traditional, for you? Is there a traditional food? I know you mentioned starters, but is there a specific food item that Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without?
Okay, let me just type that in. That Christmas. Oh, I can't spell. Sorry about this, folks. I'm just typing this in so that I can get it going on the bottom of the screen for everybody's benefit. Okay, so traditional food item that Christmas wouldn't be the same without. Oh gosh, for me it would be all the fruity puddings. So whether it's mince pie, Christmas pudding, or Christmas cake, love them all. I don't tend to eat fruit cake much the rest of the year, not really. But when Christmas comes around and mince pies first go on sale in the shops, oh, that first mince pie, absolutely brilliant. We haven't even touched our Christmas cake yet. I finally managed to ice it a couple of days before Christmas.
I saw it's very good.
Yeah, thank you. Very simple, but and yeah, we haven't even cut it open yet. And we had the little one's birthday yesterday, so we have birthday cake as well as mince pies, and also Stollen, German fruitcake. So yeah, fruitcake would probably be my answer to that one, I think. What about you?
Well, I was telling the story yesterday. I love turkey. I don't eat it the rest of the year most of the time. But I do love a beautifully roasted turkey, whether that's a crown or I love it. And I remember one famous occasion in my life when I was going with a friend to my grandmother's for Christmas, and my grandfather was really ill, and so it had never occurred to me in a million years that my grandma wouldn't do turkey, and she didn't. She did roast pork, and I remember being absolutely devastated. And it was a lovely roast dinner, but it just didn't feel like Christmas. And I said to her, she said, "What's the matter?" I was like, "It's not turkey." And she said, "No, I wasn't really in the mood." And and I said to her, if I had known that you were feeling as you did, I would have gladly taken on the responsibility for said turkey for you. But because I didn't know, I was blissfully unaware. I was very young, sort of 20, I think. But I remember being devastated at the lack of turkey. And although the meal was beautiful, it just wasn't Christmas. So it is turkey for me. Turkey.
No, that's fair enough. Speaking of a very long time vegetarian, obviously turkey is not going to be high on my agenda.
Yes.
However, I completely understand, and the thing for me is that whilst Christmas dinner will always be slightly different for me because I am vegetarian, so I don't have the turkey or the gammon or whatever it is. There have been times, when you go out for a works Christmas do or whatever it is, so you have a set menu and you kind of expect that that's going to be the normal Christmassy menu, don't you? And all the meat eaters, their option is usually a roast dinner, whether it's with turkey or whatever. And sometimes the vegetarian option has been something like mushroom stroganoff. Hang on a minute. I want a Christmas dinner, same as you. Just give me something instead of the turkey, or just give me the potatoes and veg. That's fine. I want a Christmas dinner the same.
Or
I want
a
to be treated the
vegetable
same.
Wellington, or you want the kind of roastiness of it, don't you?
Exactly. That roast dinner. Yeah. Crazy. Right. Okay. We're galloping through this today, aren't we? So my next question, if I can find it on the screen, is: do you follow particular traditions such as the 12 days of Christmas, which means you then take your decorations down by the 5th of January?
Yes, I do. So 12th night, I have also there is a cake that you make for 12th night that is representative of. It's got ground almonds. It's quite an international. It's got international ingredients in it. And if I'd been more prepared, I would have obviously said, "Oh, I'll put the recipe in there." But it's the wise men. So it's that international, and it's got cherries and green cherries and all sorts of crystallized fruit on the top that you decorate it with, to I suppose replicate the gifts. But
I've not heard that before. That's interesting.
That's quite fun. But yes, I like to. I'm one of those people who I love seeing decorations.
Yes.
But I get by Boxing Day, I've had enough. When I'm with somebody else, it's lovely because they're not mine. But if they're mine at home, I'm itching to put them away. because I'm, so actually, if mine get to 12th night, I'm doing quite well. And this year, for more than one reason, but the main one being that I haven't been at home because I've been at my sister's, I have no Christmas decorations at all.
Okay.
I didn't do them. But what was really lovely when I went to my sister's is that she'd done me a little Christmas, just wonderful, a little Christmas tree in my room, and very, very Christmassy. They're just so, I love it. I love Christmas decorations, and I love the lights on people's houses. But I like to get mine done, out the way.
Yeah.
Done.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I want them up as close as possible to the 1st of January, and they go down as close as possible to the 5th of January. Now, don't get me wrong. I love it when you take them down and the room suddenly looks huge again because the tree's gone and you've got more space. Oh, wow, lovely. I've got a new living room, which is a nice feeling. But I like the decorations very much. So I eke them out as long as I possibly can, but they're always down by the end of the 5th of January. So yeah, I do stick to that tradition, which, a lot of these traditions are obviously founded in religion. But again, it doesn't mean you have to be religious to take part in them. Because I'm not overly religious, but yeah, there's something nice about those traditions, which is kind of the point of us doing this show, isn't it? Share those with everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let us know, folks, how you feel about those things as well. We'd love to know. So I think it's your next question for me, Jenny.
Is that my last?
It will be, yes.
It is. So obviously we've talked about Christmas traditions, and we've talked about we talk often, don't we, about the Christmas spirit. So
I can't hear you, Jenny. I can't hear you. Your sound's gone. Oh, sorry about this, folks, if you're listening. Just slight technical difficulties. Still can't hear you now. No. Maybe unplug the headphones and plug them in again. So we'll be right back with you shortly, folks, after this little technical problem. Oh, say something. Oh, no, I still can't hear you. Oh, dear. This isn't good. I'm not overly technically minded to know what else to suggest. But it says your mic is on. I don't know if it's a signal problem, perhaps. Well, whilst we fiddle around and see if we can get Jenny back in the studio and back on sound, I can tell you some of the very exciting things that we've had going on. We mentioned in the last couple of shows that we're launching as an official podcast on all the podcast channels in the new year. That's going to happen at the end of January, which is very, very exciting. 30th of January, I believe, if memory serves. We've got some very exciting new graphics we're having made, which, Jenny's back. Jenny, the big test. Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. I have no idea what happened. What happened there? I had to do a bit of technical jiggery-pokery. So do you want to finish what you were saying, or shall I ask my last question?
I was just telling everyone about the official podcast launch at the end of January. So we'll be upping gears at the beginning of January to get everything promoted. We're having some fabulous artwork done to update the current imagery that you see, and which will be all over the podcast. It's so exciting. I can't. Well, neither of us can wait for you to see it. It's really fun, and we're really happy that it reflects us. This is your fortnightly dose of honesty and positivity, and we feel that's really reflected in the graphics we're having done. So a big shout out to Jenny, who, not this Jenny, but other Jenny.
Jenny Southey.
Jenny Southey, who's doing all that for us. So watch this space on that one. Right, so Jenny, back to your final question.
So I'm sorry for the brief hiatus, everybody. I apologise. So my question is, we talk a lot about Christmas traditions and Christmas spirit, and I wondered, is there something specific about the spirit of Christmas that you are intending to take into the new year with you, into 2024?
Ooh, that's a really interesting one. Okay, I'll just get that up on the screen. Wow, do you know what? I'd have to go back to the very traditional A Christmas Carol to answer this question. Our film, we have a Christmas Eve box, and in the box is always a film that we snuggle up together and watch. And this year, it was a film called The Man Who Invented Christmas, and it's all about how Charles Dickens came to write A Christmas Carol. An absolutely wonderful film. If you haven't seen it, or anyone that's watching, I highly recommend it. It was a really beautiful film. It made me cry. But the values that came through in that film, which are obviously very much about the spirit of Christmas and what's important, and that very much resonate for me, both at Christmas and moving forward into the new year and in every day, is about the importance of family. And whilst we always must put ourselves first in terms of self-care, but equally putting others' needs in as part of the equation when we're considering what we're going to do. And when I think back to this film, Charles wasn't, he was kind of almost ignoring his wife because he was in the throes of writing this book, and it was all that mattered. And what was lovely towards the end of the film, he realized what was important, and it was family, and being together and putting each other first, and giving, being of service and helping others, which is obviously reflected in A Christmas Carol of Ebenezer Scrooge, helping the Cratchit family and Tiny Tim, so that the future where he'd unfortunately died was changed, and all these wonderful things. And whilst I'm not going to sit here and say that doing something for someone else will stop people dying, that's not the point I'm trying to make, but obviously that's just part of that story. But the notion that doing things for others can have such a positive impact, I just think it is the most wonderful message for the festive season, but for all year round. And that's absolutely the kind of the Christmas spirit that I will take forward into the new year.
Fabulous. I knew you'd have a brilliant answer for that.
What's your thoughts on the subject, Jenny?
I think, again, we make a lot of the time, whether Christmas is this time of year is easy for you or whether it's a challenge, we talk a lot, don't we, about being kind to each other, taking the pressure off, slowing down, not getting stressed about things, not tying ourselves in knots. And I think for me, with all the troubles that are going on in the world at the moment, and the incredible amount of people who aren't being kind to each other for whatever reason, I would really, really like to make sure that we are inclusive, we are as non-judgmental, we are as kind to each other as we can. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with everybody, but it doesn't mean that you have to be unkind or vicious. There's a lot of viciousness about, and that people aren't intentionally difficult; they are intentionally different. And actually, that we talk a lot about, being inclusive, but actually, are we being inclusive in our attitudes and in our way of being? Often our fear of what we don't understand can manifest itself as spite, and I would love to see in contrast, there are many stories of incredible kindness. So I think that kind of inclusion and kindness and a greater understanding, and less of a, in order for me to win, somebody else has to lose. Actually, how can we meet in the middle and find solutions that work for everybody?
Oh, I absolutely love that, Jenny. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Surprise, surprise. So we end our show on the same page as we have been ever since we started the show. So thank you to you all for your support this year as we get the Renny Show going. We're very much looking forward to the new year and our big launch. So keep your eyes peeled for all the launch information on all the podcast channels. But we hope that you enjoy a peaceful and happy new year. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode, which will be on the 17th of January. I'm just going to check I've actually got that right in the diary. Yes, the next episode is the 17th of January. So do join us for that one. And then the following episode will be our big launch. So very exciting indeed. So we wish you all the best for the new year and for the whole of the festive season. And thank you for your support in 2023. Jenny, anything you'd like to add?
Just to echo, as ever, echo what you said, Rachel, but also to say that we love when people contact us and ask us questions.
Yes.
As you know, Rachel and I choose questions that we don't know what the other one's going to ask. So, but we would also love to have your questions. If you have any questions for us, we would love that. And there will be an opportunity or two to be a guest on the Renny Show. So if you would like to be a guest on our new podcast, applications are open.
Oh, fabulous. It's all very exciting.
It is very exciting, isn't it? So yes, we've loved having your company. We've loved the feedback we've got, and we are really looking forward to growing the Renny Show as a podcast in 2024. And we hope that you will come with us and tell all your friends.
Yes, come along and join the ride and bring your friends.
So thank you. We're incredibly grateful for you. And enjoy, be kind to each other, and enjoy. Here's to a fabulous 2024.
Excellent. Here's to a fabulous 2024. Take care, folks. Bye.
Bye.